Travel along, Catholic pilgrims, as we learn from St. Augustine, Doctor of the Church, while we read his book, Confessions. Welcome, Catholic pilgrims. Super short reading today, and what we learn from St. Augustine is that he did not like to study or do his lessons as a boy. That's surprising coming from a doctor of the church. But let's go ahead and grab our books and open to page 32 to read from Book 1, Chapter 12. These temptations were thought to be less of a danger in boyhood than in adolescence. But even as a boy, I did not care for lessons, and I disliked being forced to study. All the same, I was compelled to learn, and good came to me as a result, although it was not of my own making. For I would not have studied at all if I had not been obliged to do so. And what a person does against his will is not to his own credit, even if what he does is good in itself. Nor was the good which came of it due to those who compelled me to study, but to you, my God. For they had not the insight to see that I might put the lessons which they forced me to learn to any other purpose than the satisfaction of man's insatiable desire for the poverty he calls wealth and the infamy he knows as fame. But you, who take every hair of our heads into your reckoning, used for my benefit the mistaken ideas of all those who insisted on making me study, and you used the mistake I made myself in not wishing to study as a punishment which I deserved to pay, for I was a great sinner for so small a boy. In this way you turned their faults to my advantage and justly punished me for my own. For this is what you have ordained, and so it is with us, that every soul that sins brings its own punishment upon itself. Well, I was not like St. Augustine as a kid. I loved school and I loved doing my lessons. I was the kid who on the last day of school would stay after to help the teacher take everything down and close up shop for the summer. And I would always get a massive stack of extra school papers to take home, and boy, did I love that. This enabled me to play school with my siblings over the summer, which they thoroughly enjoyed. Thoroughly. Here we have St. Augustine talking about how he disliked being forced to study and he didn't care for his lessons. And I'm sure there are many people out there who can relate to his sentiments. But study is important. Learning doesn't stop with school. But oftentimes we get lazy once our formal school days are over and we stop learning. And we like to be entertained, as St. Augustine did, and putting forth the effort to learn becomes a back burner type of thing. But today, with all the ways that we can learn, it's really just amazing that we don't take advantage. And so I'd like to offer a couple of examples of how you can still learn and study, because it is for our benefit and the benefit of others too. Number 1, aim to read at least 3 books a year. And if you need a suggestion, ask me. I love to read, especially the classics, and I have loads of recommendations. I also can recommend nonfiction books. But I hear so many people who have like a stack of books and they buy these books and they just don't read them. And you just have to be more self-aware to realize, why aren't you reading them? Is it because you're staring at your phone? Is it because you're watching Netflix for hours on end? You really need to evaluate that. Number 2, engage in the arts somehow at least a few times a year. Visit a museum, maybe go to an orchestra, a play, an observatory, a historic building, something like that. Number 3, listen to podcasts like this. But there's also a Bible in a Year podcast, Catechism in the Year podcast, so many good learning ones. Number 4, take a class that teaches you something and do it with a friend or family member. We need to get out of the house and do stuff with people and bring people into community again. We forgot all that with COVID, but we need to do it again and stop just sitting in our houses. And one of the reasons that we would rather pick up our screens and waste our time that way is because it's passive. Little to no effort is required, and the inertia of our lives becomes such that we just sit passively. So, to overcome that, we will need a force to move ourselves in a different direction towards active learning. Reading, classes, visiting places all require effort, but it will be worth it. So, that is all for today, Catholic Pilgrims. I'll meet you back here very soon. And until then, live the faith boldly and travel well.